Okay, Dr. Canfield?
Thank you. I hardly know where to begin. As I'm sitting here, I'm mindful that it's about 4.5 years ago that I started here in Sandwich and was kindly given office space up on the stage here. And I can remember, as part of my entry plan, meeting with town officials, and at the time it was Mr. Penorfi was the chair of the selectmen, and Mr. Dietering was chair of the finance committee. And I was the new guy in town, and what did I know? So I started asking about assets and challenges that I would have to work with. And there were two that really stood out that were put before me. One was to deal with the wing school, and the other was to come up with a plan to help address the outmigration of students. And some of that outmigration is not so much outmigration as a decline in the birthing rates here on the Cape, as the Cape has been aging. And so districts all across Cape Cod are seeing a decline in enrollment when you start looking at kindergarten numbers and birthing rates. I came up with a vision. It was referred to as the 2020 vision of where I expected to be in the year 2020. Maybe on a beach in Hawaii, but actually I was considering what needed to happen in Sandwich. Little could I anticipate the acceleration of the decline of the wing school and the need to move students out of there much earlier than 2020, 2021. So it has been a challenge, and in the 4.5 years that I've been here, it's been a matter of fasten the seatbelt and get ready for quite a wild ride. What I've had to ask of our families, of our students, has just been beyond what I have seen in a professional career that spans over 40 years. And we've handled that very, very well. And tonight I certainly would want to begin by thanking the town of Sandwich, because what I deal and have responsibility for are the children and the youth of the community. And I thank everyone for the support that we've been given and the support that we will continue to anticipate. And as I look at the challenges of where we are right now in this budget, in fact, when I was calling from Connecticut and asking some colleagues, so what's it like on Cape Cod? And they said, the biggest challenge is dealing with Prop 2.5. Well, I've certainly discovered it's a challenge for all of us. And when it comes to the schools, we clearly see some challenges each year. As we approach this budget season, when I came here, we had some labor issues. And I think many people became aware it was somewhat contentious. It was not healthy for the system or for the community. We've come a long way in our relationship with our professional associations. We have some new leadership that we're working with very successfully. They had been through a span of taking 2 zeros in terms of budget increases. We finally came to some labor peace. We have a contract that for this FY17 is a 2.5% increase. So there's not a lot of wiggle room. It's telling me as a superintendent who's dealt with school budgets for many, many years that we're going to have some difficult decisions to make. And for me, it's all about choices. And sometimes those choices are to do nothing and take your chances, or to really be very thoughtful about what needs to happen within the community. I want to begin also by thanking Bud, because we have worked very hard in my time here to really forge an effective working relationship. And we don't always agree on everything, I'm sure, but first and foremost is the sense of love that we both feel for this community. I've come to certainly love Sandwich, its history, its people, and certainly its children. It's been a pleasure for me to work with them and to work with many members of this community. And to not be looking so much as the municipal versus the school side, but to be looking at Sandwich unified. It's about Sandwich working together. It's about us being frugal and reasonable, not spendthrifts, but be careful in how we use the funds that we are entrusted with to provide excellent education for our youth. This past year, In fact, let me go back before that. I came to this community and asked support for a bump up in the budget so that we would be able to provide for the Sandwich STEM Academy. It is now a model program in the state. It's been looked at by the University of Massachusetts, came down from Boston, the head of STEM education for the Department of Education. There is much that Sandwich should be proud of with that program. We talked about the trickle down of what we would be doing at Forestdale and Oak Ridge and the splash up for the high school. We needed to have a game plan if we are going to keep students here. I don't want to spend the evening recounting the history of what occurred over the years. There were difficulties here in Sandwich that played out often on the front page of the Cape Cod Times. It hurt this community, and many parents decided it was not where they wanted their kids to be. So they looked for other options. When we study the data and look at the demographics over time, we see certain things that occur that would cause that outmigration. The opening of Pope John Paul II, for those who wanted a Catholic education but didn't want to have to go over the bridge, and suddenly found that they could find that right in Hyannis. The opening of Sturgis Charter School, the first campus and then the second campus. And when things are difficult in the hometown, people are going to look for other options. Certainly, I want to acknowledge the quality of the program at Upper Cape Tech. I consider the superintendent a colleague. I admire what they have done. They were designed to be a vocational technical high school. They have upped the ante, and they certainly present that they offer college prep courses. But if you look at the overall profile of graduating classes, we are sending students from Sandwich High School to Ivy League schools and some of the preeminent engineering schools, certainly in the Northeast, and many in the country. The best are in the Northeast with MIT, RPI, WPI, Northeastern. We're doing a very good job. And we've had to make some decisions in terms of trade-offs. And I would agree with what Mr. Dwyer has said, that once we have an amount, if we're talking about level services, there are decisions that we need to make in order to contemporize what we are offering. So we may need to add 10 new courses, but we do it by dropping 10. So it ends up as a balanced presentation within the budget in terms of what we're investing in, but we enhance the program to contemporize it to be more meaningful to our students. Last night, again, I thank the selectmen and Bud because we moved the school committee meetings from the high school to this facility. The first meeting was last night. And we thank you for letting us be here. It's a wonderful, wonderful setting and helps us all connect with the wonderful history of this community. And a large part of that presentation was presentation about the program offerings at Sandwich High School for next year. And I have to tell you, it absolutely wowed people because people have been working on making connections. So we now have a connection with Microsoft. We are offering an advanced placement computer programming course that is really going to be the envy of many around us. And it's kudos for Sandwich. We have an outstanding Mandarin Chinese program. We are in competition with Boston Latin and others to be designated as a Confucius Classroom School, and we've achieved that. We are offering Project Lead the Way, which is a preeminent engineering program offered across this country, developed by engineers for schools. And we are slated to begin this next year offering a biomedical science strand. I wish you could have all been here last night to hear that presentation. It is our game plan, and I don't claim to be the Bill Belichick of Cape Cod education, but it is the plan to service our youth incredibly well, provide a program that the community can be proud of, and to begin to keep students here. Since we made the change and reorganized this district completely from pre-K through 12, to have pre-K2 at Forestdale, 3-6 at Oak Ridge, our parents are now coming together in ways that they had not come together before. Certainly change does not come easy. It was contentious, but now we have our parents working really well together. And I've met with them. They want their kids to remain here in Sandwich. They're not interested in sending their kids off to Hyannis. They're looking for high-quality programs, and we're looking to deliver on that. I've said all along, you don't turn a ship on a dime, but we have a good game plan as evidenced in the offerings that we have been talking about. When people are reading in the Barnstable newspaper about the issues of students at Sturgis having to go out for exercise in a park to witness drug deals, public urination, we don't have that in Sandwich. And I have parents saying we want to stay here, but we want to know there's going to be stability and a commitment to high-quality education in Sandwich and no wavering. We have still the lowest per pupil expenditure on the Cape. I say that not in terms of what some people associate, which is that the more you spend, the better it must be. It's about efficiencies, and we are organized right now. I use the term right-sizing. We right-size the district. We are very efficient. Our programs are excellent. And now our parents at our primary school all want to use our Sandwich blue colors, and they want their kids being Blue Knights and understanding what Blue Knight pride is starting in kindergarten. And they're envisioning their kids coming through Oak Ridge, the STEM Academy, and staying at Sandwich High School. It's going to take some time to get there. And my encouragement would be not to pull the plug too quickly or get too antsy because of where enrollment might be. You don't turn the ship on a dime. My job is to advise you in this community in hopes that I can give you good advice and that you'll accept it, and that we can move forward together and create a system and maintain a system that Sandwich will be very proud of. So going back to Mr. Dwyer's comment, which I agree with, and that is that because our largest bargaining unit, our teachers have a 2.5% increase, and because of some other items that are part of that contract and have been for years, that increase is going to be a little bit higher. So the challenge for the school committee as we prepare a budget and come forth with it is to knowing that there are increases in transportation. We may have to look at other revenue sources. We're going to have to look at our fee structure, which we haven't looked at for a while. It's my hope that if we have to go in that direction, our parents will be supportive because they want high quality and they want to be able to keep their kids here in Sandwich. Our athletic programs are doing really well. Our theater and our performing arts and visual arts programs are excellent. Our debate, our Model UN, all of these things are very, very good. And I know I'm going on, but this may be my only chance to speak to you and say that if we all work together, we can get to a good place, but we will have our challenges because of that teacher contract. So we're going to have to make some decisions, and I may have to recommend to the school committee some cuts in some areas in order to be sure that we can put in place the essentials of that game plan. That Project Lead the Way, the biomedical science strand, is an $85,000 investment. It's a one-time investment. So we need to find a way in which we can do that. So it's just one example of how we may have to change some things out, but those need to be school committee and superintendent decisions to help move us to a better place. And I thank you for tolerating the length of my talk. But you asked, and I'm telling you that's how I'm feeling right now.
Were you